Did you know that the richest person in history was not a modern-day billionaire, but a 14th century emperor from West Africa? Yes, you heard that right. His name was Mansa Musa, and his wealth was so immense that it's hard to comprehend even by today's standards. But before we get started, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more captivating stories from our vibrant continent. Let's get started. Mansa Musa, Musa was son of Mali, was the ruler of the Kingdom of Mali from 1312 CE to 1337 CE. During his reign, Mali was one of the richest kingdoms of Africa, and Mansa Musa was among the richest individuals in the world. The ancient Kingdom of Mali spread across parts of modern-day Mali, Senegal, the Gambia, Guinea, Niger, Nigeria, Chad, Mauritania, and Burkina Faso. Mansa Musa developed cities like Timbuktu and Gao into important cultural centers. He also brought architects from the Middle East and across Africa to design new buildings for his cities. Mansa Musa turned the Kingdom of Mali into a sophisticated center of learning in the Islamic world. It is known from local manuscripts and travelers' accounts that Mansa Musa's wealth came principally from the Mali Empire, controlling and taxing the trade in salt from northern regions, and especially from gold panned and mined in the gold-rich regions to the south. Bambuk, Wangara, Boer, Galam, Taghaza, and other such kingdoms over many centuries. Over a very long period, Mali had created a large reserve of gold. Mali is also suspected to have been involved in the trade in many goods, such as ivory, slaves, spices, silks, and ceramics. However, presently, little is known about the extent or mechanics of these trades. Musa went on Hajj to Mecca in 1324, traveling with an enormous entourage and a vast supply of gold. En route, he spent time in Cairo, where his lavish gift-giving is said to have noticeably affected the value of gold in Egypt and garnered the attention of the wider Muslim world. Musa expanded the borders of the Mali Empire, in particular incorporating the cities of Gao and Timbuktu into its territory. He sought closer ties with the rest of the Muslim world, particularly the Mamluk and Marinid sultanates. He recruited scholars from the wider Muslim world to travel to Mali, such as the Andalusian poet Abu Ishaq al-Sahili, and helped establish Timbuktu as a center of Islamic learning. His reign is associated with numerous construction projects, including part of Jingwereber Mosque in Timbuktu. Musa's reign is often regarded as the zenith of Mali's power and prestige. Musa was a young man when he became Mansa, possibly in his early 20s. Given the grandeur of his subsequent Haji, it is likely that Musa spent much of his early reign preparing for it. Among these preparations would likely have been raids to capture and enslave people from neighboring lands, as Musa's entourage would include many thousands of enslaved people. The historian Michael Gomez estimates that Mali may have captured over 6,000 people per year for this purpose. Perhaps because of this, Musa's early reign was spent in continuous military conflict with neighboring non-Muslim societies. In 1324, while in Cairo, Musa said that he had conquered 24 cities and their surrounding districts. Mansa Musa came to power in 1312 CE, after the previous king, Abu Bakr Saku, disappeared at sea. Mansa Abu Bakr Saku had departed on a large fleet of ships to explore the Atlantic Ocean and never returned. Mansa Musa inherited a kingdom that was already wealthy, but his work in expanding trade made Mali the wealthiest kingdom in Africa. His riches came from mining significant salt and gold deposits in the Mali kingdom. Elephant ivory was another major source of wealth. When Mansa Musa went on a pilgrimage, Hajj, to Mecca in 1324 CE, his journey through Egypt caused quite a stir. The Kingdom of Mali was relatively unknown outside of West Africa until this event. Arab writers from the time said that he traveled with an entourage of tens of thousands of people and dozens of camels, each carrying 136 kilograms, 300 pounds, of gold. While in Cairo, Mansa Musa met with the Sultan of Egypt, and his caravan spent and gave away so much gold that the overall value of gold decreased in Egypt for the next 12 years. Stories of his fabulous wealth even reached Europe. The Catalan Atlas, created in 1375 CE by Spanish cartographers, shows West Africa dominated by a depiction of Mansa Musa sitting on a throne, holding a nugget of gold in one hand and a golden staff in the other. After the publication of this atlas, Mansa Musa became cemented in the global imagination as a figure of stupendous wealth. After his return from Mecca, Musa embarked on a large building program, raising mosques and madrasas in Timbuktu and Gao. Timbuktu became a major Islamic university center during the 14th century due to Mansa Musa's developments. Most notably, the ancient center of learning Sankore Madrasa, or University of Sankore, was constructed during his reign. In Niani, Musa built the Hall of Audience, a building communicating by an interior door to the royal palace. It was an admirable monument, surmounted by a dome and adorned with arabesques of striking colors. The wooden window frames of an upper story were plated with silver foil, those of a lower story with gold. Like the Great Mosque, a contemporaneous and grandiose structure in Timbuktu, the hall was built of cut stone. During this period, there was an advanced level of urban living in the major centers of Mali. Mansa Musa brought architects and scholars from across the Islamic world into his kingdom, and the reputation of the Mali kingdom grew. Thus was laid the foundation of an urban civilization. At the height of its power, Mali had at least 400 cities, and the interior of the Niger Delta was very densely populated. The Kingdom of Mali reached its greatest extent around the same time, a bustling, wealthy kingdom thanks to Mansa Musa's expansion and administration. Mansa Musa died in 1337 and was succeeded by his sons. His skillful administration left his empire well off at the time of his death, but eventually, the empire fell apart. Well after his death, Mansa Musa remained ingrained in the imagination of the world as a symbol of fabulous wealth. However, his riches are only one part of his legacy, and he is also remembered for his Islamic faith, promotion of scholarship, and patronage of culture in Mali. Musa's reign is commonly regarded as Mali's golden age, but this perception may be the result of his reign being the best recorded by Arabic sources, rather than him necessarily being the wealthiest and most powerful Mansa of Mali. The territory of the Mali Empire was at its height during the reigns of Musa and his brother Suleiman, and covered the Sudan Sahel region of West Africa. Musa is less renowned in Mande oral tradition as performed by the Jaliu. He is criticized for being unfaithful to tradition, and some of the Jaliu regard Musa as having wasted Mali's wealth. However, some aspects of Musa appear to have been incorporated into a figure in Mande oral tradition known as Fajigi, which translates as Father of Hope. Fajigi is remembered as having traveled to Mecca to retrieve ceremonial objects known as bolu, which feature in Mande traditional religion. As Fajigi, Musa is sometimes conflated with a figure in oral tradition named Fakoli, who is best known as Sunjata's top general. The figure of Fajigi combines both Islam and traditional beliefs. The name Musa has become virtually synonymous with pilgrimage in Mande tradition, such that other figures who are remembered as going on a pilgrimage, such as Fakoli, are also called Musa. Mansa Musa is renowned for his wealth and generosity. Online articles in the 21st century have claimed that Mansa Musa was the richest person of all time. Historians such as Hadrian Collett have argued that Musa's wealth is impossible to accurately calculate. Contemporary Arabic sources may have been trying to express that Musa had more gold than they thought possible, rather than trying to give an exact number. Furthermore, it is difficult to meaningfully compare the wealth of historical figures, such as Mansa Musa, due to the difficulty of separating the personal wealth of a monarch from the wealth of the state and the difficulty of comparing wealth in highly different societies. Musa may have brought as much as 18 tons of gold on his Hajj, equal in value to over $957 million in 2022. Musa himself further promoted the appearance of having vast, inexhaustible wealth by spreading rumors that gold grew like a plant in his kingdom. The wealth of the Mali Empire did not come from direct control of gold-producing regions, but rather trade and tribute. The gold Musa brought on his pilgrimage probably represented years of accumulated tribute that Musa would have spent much of his early reign gathering. Another source of income for Mali during Musa's reign was taxation of the copper trade. Mansa Musa ran out of money during his journey to Mecca and had to borrow from Egyptian merchants at a high rate of interest on his return journey. Al-Umari and Ibn Khaldun state that the moneylenders were either never repaid or only partly repaid. Other sources disagree as to whether they were eventually and fully compensated. Mansa Musa's grand displays of wealth and his empire's flourishing cultural scene left a lasting impact on the world's perception of West Africa. Sadly, much of Mansa Musa's empire and its history have been forgotten or overlooked throughout the years. But his story deserves to be remembered. Mansa Musa was a brilliant leader, a wealthy patron, and a champion of his people's culture and legacy. So next time you hear about the world's richest people, remember Mansa Musa and his astounding story. Let his legacy serve as a reminder of the untapped wealth within the pages of history. The Untold Stories of Mansa Musa. Unveiling a shocking history has taken us through a riveting journey into the life of one of history's wealthiest and most influential figures. Mansa Musa's story, often overlooked, is a testament to Africa's rich and diverse history. As we've unveiled these shocking stories, we hope you've gained a deeper understanding and appreciation of African history. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What was the most surprising fact you learned about Mansa Musa? Do you think there are other African historical figures whose stories need to be told? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might find it. Welcome to Revolutionary Africa,